All right, good morning, and good morning here in the room. Welcome to KPC. There you go. We're happy that you weathered the wind and the snow. We got a little bit of snow yesterday. It's been very, very cold here. So I hope everyone is warm wherever they're watching from. So before we begin, the first thing we always want to do, not just before meditation, but before anything we do, really, and especially when we do meditation or listen to a Dharma teaching or reading a Dharma book, we want to establish the proper motivation and intention for doing so. So we always start by generating compassion, generating bodhicitta for all sentient beings. So it's that compassionate wish to free all beings from suffering, wishing that all beings are happy. So we make that intention that whatever we learn today or whatever virtue we accumulate by doing meditation practice, that we dedicate that for the benefit of all sentient beings. So let's do that in our minds now. All right. So before we begin, we're going to do opening prayer. So we'll do the 7-line prayer. And I'll put it up on the screen. We're going to chant this 3 times in Tibetan. Morgan yugi nu chamsam pemange sardum pula yasan shogi no drumne pemajung ne shisudra kordu kandrum mampokor keki jesu dag druki chinjilop shir shek su sol guru pema siddhi hum Organ yugi nu chamsam pemange sardum pola yasan shogi nu drumne pemanjung ne shisudra kordu kandrum mampokor keki jesu dag druki chinjilop shir shek su sol guru pema siddhi hum Organ yugi nu chamsam pemange sardum pola yasan shogi nu drumne pemanjung ne shisudra kordu kandrum mampokor keki jesu dag druki chinjilop shir shek su sol guru pema siddhi hum. All right, so in this class, like we do each week, we'll be practicing 3 different types of meditation. And the first type of meditation is Shamatha, or calm abiding meditation. And then we'll do, which is, helps to stabilize our mind. And then we'll do 2 different meditations that help open our heart. So with this Shamatha meditation, or calm abiding meditation, we're referring to Jetsunma's text, Jetsunma Akon Lama, our teacher, her stabilizing the mind text. So each week we review what meditation is, because the term meditation is used a lot. It's used a lot in pop culture and the wellness community and yoga communities, and just you hear the word meditation all the time. But why do we really do it? Why do we take the time to try to stabilize our minds? Um, so meditation is a natural state of our mind when it's relaxed, when it's stable, when it's open, and it also trains our mind to be relaxed, but also alert and wakeful. Um, I feel like, especially in this time that we're living in, more than ever, we can notice how unsettled our mind can be in every moment, how ungrounded we can feel in every moment. Um, Almost like even just the mental tension or inflammation of not knowing what's going to come down the pipeline next. We're just living in that type of world right now in this country and the all over the world. The unpredictability of samsara, of just pervasive suffering and destruction and war and um, just extreme poverty and unrest. I mean, the list is can go on and on and on, and the suffering is unimaginable. So it's hard to find moments of awareness and stillness, and it's hard to find those moments where we feel we can just go inside and really find that deep well of stability, or that deep well of calm, or that deep well of awareness when there are constant distractions around us, where we can't really focus on one thing for more than a second. Our attention span, I've noticed this with myself, almost like this fractioned attention span where, or fractured, that's what I meant, where it just feels like there's bits and pieces going in every direction. And it's harder now to pull our attention, to pull our focus, to pull our awareness, um, and to create that spaciousness and stability in our mind. So our minds are rarely settled. They're rarely calm. They run wild. Again, all of the great Dharma teachers talk about our monkey minds jumping from one thing to the next. So the monkey of our mind is especially inflamed right now in these times. So we're agitated, we're fatigued, we're exhausted. Um, and so it's so important to care for our minds during this time, to actually give our mind a moment to rest. But you have to be intentional about it, or it's not going to happen. Truly, it will not happen unless it's like the train is moving this way and you have to stand in front of the train and try to hold the train from moving, because it will just keep going and going and going. So but just like our body is made up of a series of muscles and you know um fibers, and all the ways that our body can build muscle, can build strength, so can our mind, and um, so can the stability in our mind. We can increase that stability over time. So we can do this, but it's about consistency. Um, so the whole reason to practice meditation is to create that spaciousness in our mind and that stability in our mind. And that's so important on the Buddhist path, because if we have no stability or spaciousness in our mind, then, and if we're just constantly dealing with our own mental tension, mental inflammation, then how can we possibly think about uh, the benefit of others? How can we possibly think to serve others? How can we possibly think, oh, how are they doing? How can I help? Um, it's just like we're too clouded. We have too many like clouds coming into our mental space to even have that awareness or have that view of others, um, have that thought of bodhicitta, of that thought of freeing all beings from suffering. So, and that spatial meditation is really the first step to developing our bodhicitta. So it's so important. And even, as we continue on the path and we're doing more complex, we do all these group practices here. If we're just completely distracted the whole time, if we have no stability or spaciousness in our mind, then our practice is, it's lacking depth or lacking if we're completely distracted, how can these practices and these techniques really transform our mind if our mind is all over the place? So so with shamatha meditation, we're going to be focusing on our breath today. So we can in other meditations, you might focus on a flame or like a candle or a flower or maybe a Buddha statue. But today we'll focus on the breath, and we always have our breath with us, so good thing. We can do this anytime. So we'll just get in our posture like we do each week with our spine lifted, almost like it's being lifted like we have a string tied up to the, holding up our spine. But it's not rigid, just lifted, and our shoulders are back and our elbows are back. And the traditional hand posture is the right hand over the left, and shoulders back, elbows back. We're gazing down towards the floor. Our eyes remain open. And we're gazing down to the floor, almost like we're drawing a line from the bridge of our nose extending out, and finding a point on that line to rest our gaze. And then we're just going to be breathing naturally. So you might take a few deep breaths to get to that natural rhythm of your breath. To have the body kind of calm down and relax. So when any thoughts begin to arise, and they will arise because that's what our mind does, we're just going to simply return our focus and attention back to our breath. Almost like a bubble rising to the surface of a pond. We'll just let it rise, let it pop at the surface of the pond, and then let it go. So our meditation isn't lost by having thoughts. It's lost when we go down the road with those thoughts, when we inspect them, when we judge them, when we let those thoughts multiply into many more thoughts. So we have to catch it. We have to catch our minds, and we bring it back again and again and again. We're not punishing ourselves. We're not scolding ourselves for having a thought. We're just returning ourself and our attention back to the breath. Your attention is like a feather gently riding the surface of your breath. It's a very gossamer thin and light attention on the breath. We're also going to have just a little bit of the mouth as your lips are slightly parted. We do this by putting the tip of our tongue on the back of our front teeth, like we're saying the letter L. Just rest there and breathing naturally. So we're going to do a warm-up round in a few minutes. It's always recommended if you're new to meditation to start with shorter increments of time. It's not recommended to just go in and do 45 minutes your first time. We want to build up our attention, build up our focus, build up the spaciousness in our mind. So we can just start with 3 minutes, okay? Oh wow, sorry, a very loud gong today. Oops. So, this time we'll do a little bit longer. If you find that your mind feels very distracted today, you can also imagine like picking up your thoughts with like tongs and throwing the thought away, or taking a pair of scissors and cutting your thought. I find that one especially helpful. Just like when something's just keeps a thought keeps coming into your mind, I just like cut it and actually just like imagining the thought just whoop. Um, it's helpful. Visualization can be very helpful like that. So um, if you find that to be the case, please use those tools. And if you're finding also changing a little bit the height of like your where you're resting your gaze can also help. So if you're feeling especially sleepy today, you can raise your gaze a little bit so that more light comes into your eyes. That will actually help keep you more alert. And same goes with the other way. If you're feeling, you know, all over the place, distracted, and like very busy mind, you can lower your gaze to let less light in, help calm your mind more. So we're gonna do a little bit longer, and then we'll move on to 2 different meditations. Oh, let's see. There we go. Oh, my thing is being very funny. Come on. Okay, well, let's just try that. All right. Okay, so hopefully your mind feels a little more calm, a little more spacious, stable. So now we will do 2 meditations that really help open our heart. So we're going to do Tonglen meditation, or giving and receiving, which is done to develop our compassion and our ability to be present for our own suffering and the suffering of others. So this practice trains us to use the energy of loving kindness to open our hearts to suffering and to transform it into well-being. So in this practice, we actually imagine that we're taking the suffering of others into ourselves, and we're sending them all of our happiness. So even though this is a mental exercise and it's, in the immediate present, it's not, doing this meditation is not going to remove someone's suffering. But by doing this practice, it helps us gradually cease to cherish ourselves over others. This practice helps us develop a stronger wish to benefit all beings. And it helps us develop a sense of equanimity in our minds. That all beings deserve happiness, that all beings wish to be free from suffering, that all beings have these values at their core. No one wants to suffer. No one wants unhappiness. So seeing all beings and wanting to relieve their suffering, seeing them in this way and wanting to relieve them of that suffering. So we're going to stay in our meditation posture, and we're going to imagine 1 or 2 beings in front of us, and we can interchange or however we want to do this, but someone for whom we easily feel compassion or love towards, someone who, if this person was suffering, their suffering would particularly touch your heart. You can imagine this person suffering, or if you did, it's like you'd want to take it away. You want to take that suffering away. So this could be a parent, this could be a sibling, this could be a child, a friend, this could be your little fur babies at home. Any any being that you easily feel compassion towards. So imagine them in front of you, and we're going to really contemplate their suffering. So imagining that you put yourself in their shoes. So what it would feel like to go through, some sort of suffering or some sort of pain or sadness or misery of any sorts. So really digging into that and letting that naturally, help rise all this compassion in your heart for this person. So you're cultivating in your heart this fervent wish to relieve their suffering and to secure their happiness. So we're going to do this by bringing attention to our breath. Again, we're going to focus on the breath, and we're going to do this by following the natural rhythm of our breath. So as we breathe in, we're going to visualize that when you inhale through your nose, that you take on all of the causes and conditions of their suffering in the form of like a dark black smoke. So you're breathing that in and imagining that they become completely free of suffering. So you're actually you're just taking all the suffering in. And as you exhale, you visualize that you're sending and they are receiving all conceivable sources of happiness, all enduring happiness. And it's in this form of this radiant, pure light. And it's just giving them unlimited joy. And you see them receive that. You imagine them receiving that. So you might think as you breathe in, May you be free of suffering. And as you breathe out, may you be happy. So we're going to try this. Do your best. Again, we're just really letting, imagining this person or being going through something and having that, that going through some sort of suffering, and then having that really just help you develop so much compassion for them, the wish to just take their pain away. So we'll do this for a few minutes. Let's just, my little timer is being a little fickle today. Let's see. There we go. All right. All right. So, for those of you who have done this before, you know what's coming next. Well, that got a good laugh. Good laugh there, yeah, because this one can be harder. So now we're now we're gonna try the same exercise, but for someone that we have extreme aversion or distaste or anger towards, frustration, the list goes on. Anyone that you're just like, no. So, with this practice, we're really trying to increase the scope of equanimity to all beings. We're trying to, include all beings in our love and compassion. So, I say this like every week, but we can't imagine all beings and then like a few jerks off to the side that are not included in our love, in our equanimity, because that's not how it works. When we say all beings, we mean all beings. So, this will help us chip away at the iciness around around our hearts and um, our resistance to doing this type of thing or extending our love and compassion to certain people, or and we might have very good reasons that we feel that this person doesn't deserve our love and compassion. Maybe this person has hurt so many people. Maybe this person has extremely destructive behavior, um, and uh, it's just like, no, this person doesn't deserve any of that. So if we can think about, again, that core idea of, all beings wish to be free of suffering, all beings wish to be happy. There is such a confusion around what creates the causes of happiness, that maybe this person trying to create happiness has caused such destruction, and is completely confused about that. But in their minds too, they are trying to be happy. So if we can really remember that, and imagine, what would it be like, even for someone that we don't want to extend this compassion to, what would it be like if all of their suffering was taken away and they were just in a complete happy and joyful state? What would they be like then? If we could really do that for every being, if we could really eliminate all of their inner suffering, whatever they went through in their life that caused them to be this way, if we could take that all away and all sentient beings were just in a state of limitless joy and happiness, why wouldn't we do that for everyone? Why wouldn't we do that for all beings? If we could take all of that suffering away, wouldn't we want to take it away right now? And what kind of world would we live in if that was the case? If we truly all loved each other, if we truly could heal each other in that way. And I just feel, this is a very powerful practice for this time. It's a very powerful practice no matter what, but especially for this time when there is so much division amongst people in this country, in all, countries around the world. It's a tool we can use in a very immediate way, and we can use it anytime. We don't have to be sitting here each time we do it. We can be out in the world and do this. We can be, in a waiting room at a doctor's office and imagining taking in all the suffering of everyone there experiencing a sickness or pain, and then just sending all of our happiness and joy to them. It's like we can be this like filter of love and compassion wherever we go, filtering it in and filtering in the suffering, and then extending out this like bright, radiant light to all beings. So we can do this whenever. We can do this when we're in a conversation with someone. They won't know we're doing it, but we're creating that awareness and increasing our scope of love and compassion. All throughout the day, we can do this. So let's try to imagine one or two people in front of us for whom we are like, no, we don't want to do this for them. Okay, so let's try it, because we have to chip away at it if we want to really, if the goal is to really love and care for all beings, then we have to dive in and go for the hardest, the hardest, what do they say? Start with the most difficult thing, or start with the most difficult person. Okay, so let's try this for a few minutes. Every time I set the timer, I lift my finger up and it changes the time. Whoops. There we go. All right, let's try. All right, how did you do? It can feel a little just again unnatural at first, but slowly, um, it will become easier. Um, yeah. So again, we want to be able to do this practice for all beings, imagining all beings throughout all of space, taking in, breathing in that suffering as this dark smoke, and then exhaling as this white, radiant, bright light of limitless joy. So, just check the time. All right. So we're just going to do one more minute of just increasing the scope. So you can imagine a little bit of a larger group who you might feel anger or aversion towards, imagining them in front of you, and then breathing that in, and then just imagining the group of sentient beings getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you're doing this for all sentient beings. So we'll just do that for another minute where you're just expanding that out to all beings. Just for one more minute. So again, you can do this practice anytime. And, we can use it in moments, whenever you can think of doing this practice, it can be so helpful. All right, so we're going to continue with this, extending out this radiant light. And we're going to do a guided meditation written by our teacher, Jetsunma. It's called the Light Expansion Prayer. So you can just listen along. I will read it, and you just can listen along. And then after that, we'll do some closing prayers. So, okay. Let us become still. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Again. Let us center deep within. Center deep within. Deep within to the presence of the Absolute. And there is radiance. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to embrace the physical body. And all of the physical body is filled with the presence of the Absolute. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to fill our beings on all dimensions. And all that we are is filled with the radiance of the Absolute. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to fill everyone here. And everyone here on all dimensions is filled with the presence of the Absolute. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to embrace this building. And all of this building is filled with the light of the Absolute. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to embrace this nation. And the government of this nation is filled with the radiance of the Absolute. And the people of this nation are one life. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to embrace planet Earth. All nations and all governments are filled with the presence of the Absolute. And there is peace. And the 8 billion are one life, radiant. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to fill this galaxy. All planets, all stars, and all life forms are within the embrace of the Absolute. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to embrace the universe. All dimensions and all kingdoms are filled with the presence of the Absolute. And in all the universe, there is only one life. Now, as we return our consciousness back to physical form, we continue to embrace all that is and to know union that we are one. And with that, we will dedicate the virtue of our practice here today to the benefit of all sentient beings. And let me put dedication up here. So we'll say these together. Throughout my many lives and until this moment, whatever virtue I've accomplished, including the merit generated by this practice, and all that I'll ever attain, this I offer for the welfare of sentient beings. May sickness, war, famine, and suffering be decreased for every being, while their wisdom and compassion increase in this and every future life. May clearly perceive all experiences to be as insubstantial as the dream fabric of the night, and instantly awaken to perceive the pure wisdom display in the arising of every phenomenon. May I quickly attain enlightenment in order to work ceaselessly for the liberation of all sentient beings. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas altogether, whatever kind of motivation you have, whatever kind of beneficial action, whatever kind of wishing prayers, whatever kind of omniscience, whatever kind of life accomplishment, whatever kind of benevolent power, and whatever kind of immense wisdom you have, similarly I have come in the same way to benefit beings. Pray to attain these qualities. By this effort, may all sentient beings be free of suffering. May their minds be filled with the nectar of virtue. In this way, may all causes resulting in suffering be extinguished, and only the light of compassion shine throughout all realms. Thank you all for joining today, and thank you so much for everyone online. We'll see you next time, next Saturday at 11, and tomorrow we have a teaching at 11:30. Kempo Karze will be away, so Atira Zioli will be teaching tomorrow at 11:30 and streaming online, just like this one on YouTube and on Facebook.